Good morning, everybody. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. 6th of January 2026, and we have 5 consecutive green days from Bitcoin. Now, the title of the show today is It's a Trap, okay? I'm going to keep telling you until I am blue in the face that this is not going to end well, okay? Mr. Bull 2025 is Mr. Semi-bearish at the beginning of 2026. Mr. Bull by the end of 2026. I'm going to keep reiterating this point until I am wrong. And at that point, I will be dancing, smoking cigars, and, as promised, riding around on the top of Tariq's Tesla in a 40-year-old sofa. Now, we've got a lot to talk about today. If you've just joined us and you've no idea what I'm talking about, this is Crypto Warehouse. I am Mike. 11 o'clock, most days we stream on Binance Square, and of course, we stream over on YouTube. And I am one of those streamers. I've noticed this. I look at the camera. I've noticed with certain streamers that they kind of have this kind of pose where they look to the side as if they're talking to some inanimate borrower who is 3 inches tall and standing on the table next to them. I don't get that. Where is the connection? You're looking at me. I'm looking at you. We're in this together. Now, we've got a lot to get through today. We're going to talk about the X-Files, of course, look at the markets. We're going to look at break risk, the breakout risk to Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're going to look at ETH. We're going to look at Solana. We're going to look at Pac-Man. That's a good one. We're going to look at Dupe USD. We're going to look at Ledger, and we're going to look at the NFT event that was cancelled and why it's not the end of the world. Okay, we have all of that to talk about. We have, of course, on the screen, because technology doesn't stand still, and neither do I. We have animation right in front of your eyes. Maple Finance, we're going to do a quiz night tomorrow night on Binance Square. The time is that look at that ticker. Look at that ticker. It's even in yellow, okay? Doesn't match with anything else on the screen, but that's the point. It stands out. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, that's Central European time, 6 p.m. UTC. Now, if you're over towards India, I believe that's 11 or 12 o'clock at night, so it's a bit late. If you're in America, I believe that's about, midday, 1 o'clock, depending on how crazy the west or the east coast is. And if you're in New Zealand like Packer, I imagine it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, so he won't be there. But it's back. The first quiz of the year is January the 7th. The second quiz of the year will be January the 21st. That will be the Wolfies quiz. And a few good mornings before we begin. There's lots of people in Binance Square. BNB is in Binance Square. Alpha is here. Hidden is here. Mags is here. KB is here. Manjeet is here. And we have a quiz question of the day. Is Ethereum going to hit $4,000 in January? That's the quiz question. Okay? Not the quiz question, the poll question. What do you think? Manjeet, very good. Changes to be coming in January. Nobody can imagine. I hope so. I hope so. Right. Should we get on with some prices? I am going to change this around a little bit, by the way. This is the year of fallibility. Okay. I said this yesterday, I think. A lot of people are being accused of being AI streamers. Now, the one thing I will guarantee you is no AI in the world is going to come up with this face, okay? I am me. So what's likely to happen is I'm going to bin the left-hand side. I'm going to shift over there, keep the title of the show, and get rid of the fans thing. I've lost track of the fans thing. I think we're over 250,000. I haven't looked at it in like 6 months. So I think we're going to get rid of that. I'm going to move to the left. I'm going to be in the same place as the Oracle because the Oracle's changed his UI. And I'm going to get a new thumbnail because it's 2026, and that one that I'm using now is from 2025. Tomorrow, I'll be at a party, but I'm taking my laptop with me. Mags, get everybody at the party to play along, okay? That's what I would do. Screencast your laptop to the big 70-inch monitor that everybody seems to have these days, and everybody at your party can play along and give you the correct answers. Get them all to scream uno, dos, tres at you, or whatever they speak, wherever the party may be. Give that a go. Now, we're going to get on with some prices. The market cap of crypto is $3.2 trillion. It's a trap. Alt season is still only 28 out of 100. I don't cover this very often. The average crypto RSI is something they've added a load of new stats on here, which are quite nice. 62 is overbought. Just bear that in mind. But a lot of coins are up. And during a bull run and during certain bull phases, you do get to overbought territory. But that's normally when you take profits. The same with the fear and greed. Once the fear and greed gets towards 70, that's normally a good time to sell. And then normally you buy when fear and greed is under 20. They're just some general rules of thumb. They don't always come true, but you get the idea. Now, Bitcoin is coming in at 93,422 US debased dollars. Ethereum is coming in at 3,224 USD debased dollars. And the poll question, are we going to hit 4,000 on Ethereum? That is a 25% move, maybe 25% move on Ethereum. Can we see that? Well, if we see Bitcoin bounce off that 100,000, 102,000, that's a 10% move for Bitcoin. Ethereum could do another 15 or 16%. It could get awfully close before we see any retracement. Other exciting bits of news, XRP is back at 234. Do you know, sometimes you worry about coins. I'm worried about Cardano at the minute. I was worried about XRP at $1.88, $1.90. I was thinking, you know, maybe it's lost its steam. Maybe Brad's beard is wearing off. But no, back at 234. And again, if we're talking about coins going back to really significant prices, XRP, again, is not a million miles away from $2.50, $2.75 and $3, which is what we were talking about back in October when we were all happy. Now we're all sad. I don't know why we're all sad, but we are. Solana is coming in at 137. We're going to look at the Solana chart today because there's two prices I want to draw your attention to on where we can go potentially on Solana and where we've just bounced off on Solana. So keep an eye out for that. We are also going to look at the Bitcoin chart one more time. Tron is still there. I don't know about Tron. Tron's the person that goes to the party. Nobody knows who Tron is. And they're in the corner and they're drinking and they're smiling at people. And everyone's like, do you know who that guy is? No idea. Do you ever talk to that guy? No. No. Does he go to our college? No. Does he work in finance? No idea. That's Tron. Nobody knows anybody that holds Tron. Nobody holds Tron. Only thing we know is the guy that created Tron likes to pay $750,000 to eat a banana. And that is not at a Diddy party, by the way. That was at an auction, right? So, Tron, still there. Doge and Tron. As I said yesterday, if I could click my fingers and make 3 coins disappear, it would be Tron, Dogecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Cardano is the coin I'm worrying about, simply because whereas we're seeing XRP back at 234, where we're seeing Ethereum at 3,200, we're not seeing Cardano back at 60 cents. So I'm worried about Cardano. I still hold a lot of Cardano. I'm worried about it. We need some bullish momentum on Cardano. Yes, it's up 17.5% in the last 7 days. XRP is up 25%. That's where I kind of gauge my Cardano. Chainlink is at 1380. That's up 10%. Decent. Hype is still over $25. That is decent. Now, again, when we look at these types of coins, we ignore these types of pumps. Clearly, there's some breaking news that we don't know anything about. We haven't seen anything in the news either, so I'm going to give that one a miss. But, as we said yesterday, the two narratives that were leading 2026 are meme coins and AI coins. Render is one of the bigger AI projects, along with the likes of FET, and of course, something very dear to my heart is Near Protocol. I put a tweet out, which I'm going to interject the stream with, to show you something, which is a message, again, as well as all of this being a trap, this is a message I want to drive home. And I say this time and time again, and it's important you understand this. The value of a token is not the same as the value of a project. We are in strange times, and we're in strange times because we're in a very, very new market. We're in a new industry. We're still in unproven grounds. Most of these projects on your screen now will not exist in 5 or 10 years' time. So we're still in unproven grounds, and we see the markets swing as a whole, back and forth, the same way oil stocks do, other commodity stocks do, but a lot of these projects aren't going to exist. And a lot of the time, it's market-driven hype that pumps a lot of these coins' prices. But what you tend to find... Just give me 1 second. That's okay. What you tend to find is that there's no connection between the coin price and the fundamentals of a project. And that's what that message is. The token price does not equal the fundamentals of a project. And I'm going to keep saying that because we're now getting to sensible times where men in suits with calculators and spreadsheets, they work things out. They look at PE ratios, they look at return on investment, they look at things like that. And we need to start doing that as well. And I know we've been trying to force that down your throats for years and years and years, but the fundamentals of a business don't change, whether it's somebody selling sandwiches or somebody selling 3i rendered pictures of Donald Trump dancing with Maduro in the White House, or Maduro in the White House. The fundamentals don't change. Money comes in, costs go out, what's left is profit. That's it. Get that in, learn that and understand it. And then we can start talking about things like NAV. Okay? We can look at the value of a business and then we can start to look at those kind of things. But that's further down the line. For now, Render doing exceptionally well. Sui is back over... Sui was back over $2 at the time I read about this. Lighter is up. I brought your attention to Lighter yesterday. Clearly, that is the warehouse pump, okay? Me talking about Lighter yesterday, that's the warehouse pump. KB clearly ran out and bought a big bag of Lighter yesterday. I'm sure Mags has done the same. So I do apologise to people wanting to get into Lighter, but we broke the news yesterday, and that's why it's pumped by 13%. Stacks is up. Stacks, I think, was down for about 4 hours. Was it Stacks that was down for about 4 hours yesterday? These things happen. But if it was Solana, there would be memes upon memes about it. But when it's Stacks and a smaller project, nobody mentions it, do they? XRP is in the top 10 gainers. Pump is back up. Immutable X. Tezos, Morpho, good projects there. Jupiter is up a little bit. But again, Jupiter at $727 million is an absolute joke of a price. It's a joke. This is a billion-dollar project, multi-billion-dollar project. And again, token value does not equal fundamentals of a project. And again, you could argue that I'm going to say this because the prices are down and I'm trying to cover my back. No, I've been saying this for a long time. You find projects that make a profit and a revenue. That's the most important thing. Losers then, Midnight is down. MYX is really, really volatile. That project is always a top gainer or a top loser. Cash is down. I couldn't care less about Cash. Hype is down a little bit. Story, World Liberty Financial is down a little bit. But again, of everything that's happened in the market, I think World Liberty Financial has done or is doing exceptionally well. I think it's doing incredibly well. 17.4 cents. I remember saying I wanted this to get down to 11 cents to buy it. And I think I remember buying it at 21 cents, somewhere in the middle, and then at about 11 cents. But if you go back, not to back up here, but if you go back down here to November, you were at 11 cents. And that is the price I put up on Twitter way back up here. I wanted to buy it at 11 cents. I think I did. But then I think I bought it a bit higher. I bought it at 15 cents, I think. Something like that, 16 cents maybe. And I think the most I've paid for it is 20 or 19 cents. So I think I'm in the green as far as World Liberty Financial is concerned. And remember, the bigger USD1 gets, the bigger WLFI gets because of the buybacks that they've got in place, which we talked about yesterday. Now let's get on with some X-Files. We've done enough nattering already in this show to last a lifetime. Now then, if you are in chat, say hello. Say hello. Good morning, Danny. I hope you are well. Mags is going to show the quiz on the big TV tomorrow at his party, which I think is fantastic. And KB, there you have it. In chat, KB admits he bought Lighter, and he is the one that's pumped the markets. And he also made 107% gain on one of his trades, his first trade of 2026. So a big congratulations to KB for that. Absolutely nothing to do with that whatsoever, but I will claim some kind of glory for it. Why not? It seems that SDNY, DOJ, Department of Justice, have sold the Bitcoin that the Samurai devs paid as part of their plea deal, even though the Executive Order 14233 mandates that forfeited Bitcoin to be held in the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. This is naughty. Now, I don't really care about the politics side of these kind of things, but if you have an order from the president of your country and you disobey that order, does that not fall under... I mean, in the UK, I think we used to, like, throw you off the end of a plank, didn't we? Or throw you into a vat of boiling oil. We used to do really horrible, mean things to people. In America, I think they have the same kind of thing. Whoever is responsible for this in America should go to prison. I'm not saying we should throw them in a vat of oil. You know, that's not the kind of thing we should do. But we should certainly... You can't go against your elected president in any country, surely, unless they're doing something horrible. Now, this is really cool, and this has nothing to do with crypto, but this is something you need to see. This is Wi-Fi. You know, the thing that powers your phones and your laptops in your house. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon University have developed a system that uses standard Wi-Fi routers to detect human movement through walls without any cameras. By applying AI and dense pose model, the system turns Wi-Fi signals into detailed maps of body posture in real time. Now, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. It's even got the Matrix music in the background. So what I could do, I could hack Tariq's Wi-Fi. I could then use AI and dense pose to track Tariq around his house and maybe even see what he's trading on his screen to steal all of his trading ideas. But this is like proper CIA level magic going on here. Again, nothing to do with crypto, but potentially a way for people to be able to spy on you using Wi-Fi, which is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now then, we're going to move on. It's Monday and a new year. Doom posters are erasing tweets from a few weeks ago in hopes that people don't remember them calling the market dead and gone. Your favourite, always wrong, Cole is asking ChatGPT how to get their narrative back from metals and stocks. Remember who told you it was over and mute them. Now, again, we're going to see more of these things because when we have our retracement, whenever that may be, we're going to see people coming out saying, remember when I told you that the market was dead and buried? And then you listen to people like Coco tell you that the market wasn't dead and buried, and you all went long, and I shorted, and I won. That's what's going to happen. Now, I'm not calling anybody out, because that's not what we do. Well, it is actually what we do, but we don't call them out for this reason. People are never going to be able to see the future. But what I will agree with is this. I have seen so many crypto people mention the word palladium, mention the word silver, mention all of these things and start to do charts, start to do whatever. And they use this term, there is a bull market somewhere, okay? And it's as if they've clicked the fingers. There used to be an old comedian in the UK who'd pretend to be a hypnotist, and he'd say, "Look into my eyes, don't look around my eyes, look into my eyes," and click his fingers, and he would think that you were hypnotized, and clearly you weren't. It's exactly what they're doing. They're crypto channels, and they're now giving you trading advice on gold and silver and oil and palladium, and the other one that begins, what's the other one called? My wife's ring's made out of it. I can't remember the name of it now. Not titanium. Anyway, whatever it is. They're giving advice on it. I'm like, what are you doing? You messed up that badly that you're now going to start talking about gold. Is that where we've got to? Anyway. Again, Jason Casper has joined the pack of people saying that we're going to hit 100,000 before a pullback. Again, I am of this camp. I put the video out on Sunday called Bitcoin's Next Move, and that's what I think. And it's simply because it's a pattern. And whether the pattern plays out, I don't know. I'm not hanging my hat on it, but I think we're going to go up and see. I think we'll go up to the bull market support band, which we'll show you in a minute, and then we'll see. And then if we do break through, we hold 102, 103,000, and then we start going up towards 110,000, 115,000. Believe you me, I'll be more than happy. But I want you to be prepared for a $75,000 Bitcoin. That's what I think. And again, if we do hit 100,000 and have a 30% correction, That takes us to 70,000, which of course is the previous all-time high, and maybe there's confluence of data in that as well. Now, alert, over the past 24 hours, $522 million has been wiped out in crypto liquidations, most of them from shorts, and I say burn the shorts. Burn the shorts and burn the bears. Burn them to the ground. That's what I say. Cadmium. Do you know what? I can't remember what it was now. I can't remember what my wife's ring is made out of. It's really malleable and it's soft, and it's the one above gold, and it's like a whitey silver colour. I can't remember the name of it now. Right then, Bitcoin and Ethereum look bullish, but they face the same pre-breakout risk. Past cycles show similar patterns, often resolve with volatility before direction. This is what I think is likely to cause some consternation in the we are so back camp. Bitcoin has managed to break the 90,000 mark. We're now at 90. What are we? We're at 93 or 94,000. You can tell we're moving when you forget the price. 3 weeks ago, I could have told you we're at 87,000 and I wouldn't have had to have looked at the charts for 6 days. But I'm wondering where we are now. Oh, don't tell me my internet's playing up again. That's turned off. We'll keep on with the article, shall we? Declining whale balances was a warning sign that the rally may face setbacks and delays. In a post on X, we're back. I think, just let me check that we are here and not causing problems. I think we're here. Crypto Nuevo highlighted another reason why Bitcoin's expected price bounce might see a liquidity run before the true impulse move. And again, he has kind of highlighted the same thing I highlighted yesterday, maybe for a different reason, but it's the same kind of pattern. A liquidity run is a false price move that is designed to trap breakout traders. In this scenario, a breakout past 94,500's local resistance would persuade bulls that the breakout was underway. The new position's liquidation levels can then be hunted with a sweep of the lows below 84,000. Therefore, the true impulse move to 100,000 and beyond can commence. So he thinks we might come lower to then go higher in the longer term. And again, if you look at this heat map, I looked at this today. It's building up below the price we're at. Maybe we're not going to get to 100,000 before we retrace. Maybe we only get to 97 and 98,000. But there is now a big build-up of liquidations beneath us. And if that gets too enticing, maybe they go bull hunting. Maybe they go and take them out. But my move is somewhere to 100,000, 102,000, and then down. That's my move. I'm going to be wrong. I don't care about that. What I care about is I think that we've managed to call the relief rally, which is what it is. It's a relief rally. And then we're going to come down. Then we're going to find some lows before we go higher. But the scenario with a liquidity run to 96,000 might not happen, and instead Bitcoin might head towards 80,000 in the coming days. AMB Crypto has noted recently that a move towards 94 to 96,000 was likely this month, but also warned of bearish ETF flows in the second half of December that gave traders a dilemma. And we're not going to talk too much about Ethereum because we're going to talk about that in a minute. But suffice to say, we're going to bring this chart up again one last time this week. I don't think we'll look at the Bitcoin chart again. Now, remember tomorrow, while we're bringing the chart up, remember tomorrow we have the Maple quiz at 7 p.m. So I am not streaming in the day. I will be streaming tomorrow night with the Oracle. It's the Maple quiz night. We're going to be doing that on Binance Square. I'm going to have the Crypto Warehouse Wheel of Fortune over there. And we're going to have the YouTube quiz, which is the interactive quiz. So we've got two different quizzes going on. But you win on both after a long time. Good morning, Shantanu. I hope you are well. So this is the Bitcoin chart as it stands. Again, there are some interesting kind of prices on here. The line that I kind of want to bring your attention to is that one that we've been talking about all day. That's kind of the range that I think we're going to go to. That's the bottom of the bull market support band. The second line I have drawn is where we're at right now. Now this has been a fairly important price in the history of Bitcoin. You can go back to November the 11th through to March the 8th, 2025. So November 24 to March 2025, we spent 4 months there. And that's around about the price that we're at now. So we've retraced the entire move of 2025 back to exactly where we were this time last year. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to do this. I'm going to sit here and tell you, if I get rid of these, that the move that I see is a simple one. It's we come up to here and then we break down. That's the move, okay? And a lot of people are now suggesting that's the move, which makes me think it's not going to be the move, because when everybody is in agreement, that's when it goes in the opposite direction. So I think somewhere towards 98 to 102,000. I actually have it a little bit higher. I think the bull market support band moved in the last day or two, because I remember putting this in correctly. But I think we've got somewhere in that range there. That's kind of maybe the midpoint of the two, the top and the bottom. So I think we're going to move there, and then we're going to break back down. However, enjoy this relief rally, okay? Enjoy the fact that we've not got yet another red day. We've got 5 green days. Now, at some point, we might have another few red days, and we might come to the downside, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world just yet. We might have a few down days, then another push-up, then another pullback, then another push-up, and then the final pullback. Nothing goes up or down in a straight line. We all know that. But I do think we've got a few more days left of relief. Today is only Tuesday. This all started back on, Thursday last week? So we've not even had a week of this. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, we've only had 5 days of this. So just bear that in mind. Now, Grayscale makes history as ETH staking ETF begins paying rewards. Now, this was the catalyst for me. I said last year that 2 things were going to send Ethereum over $4,000. And one of them is, of course, the fact that we've got the ETF, and the ETF is now consuming more and more Ethereum. And the second one, which was the bigger of the 2 for me, is ETH staking. If I am a salesman and I am pitching you these ETFs, I'm going to pitch you Bitcoin all day long. Buy your bag of Bitcoin. Okay, here is Bitcoin. There's 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to exist. There's probably only going to be 17 million ever in circulation, because most of them have been lost. 17 million Bitcoin, you can hold one. You can hold half of one. That'd be my pitch on Bitcoin. It's a store of value. It's got a constant supply of money being printed that is going to keep pushing Bitcoin up for the next 50 or 100 years. Ethereum is also pretty much capped now at 120 million. It's got negative inflation. It's got deflation most of the time. And guess what? It also pays you a yield. And that yield comes from ETH staking, which is going to pay you, I imagine they're going to be paying out about 2 to 2.5% per year, something like that maybe. And this is massive. And again, we can be in a bear market, we can be in a bull market, we can be standing on our heads. It doesn't matter. This is a fact, and facts outweigh your emotions and my emotions. And ETH staking rewards are going to make the pitch of selling ETH and Solana massively, massively different, because it's going to pay you a yield, which basically means holding this ETF is free. Because if you hold your Bitcoin ETF, you might pay 0.1%, 0.25% per year out of your Bitcoin to the BlackRocks of this world. If you're holding an ETHI, as this one is called, or if you're holding another one, if you're holding the BlackRock one, if you're holding the Cathie Woods ARK Invest, whatever it might be, you get more out of it than you put in, and it is paying a dividend. So it's the first exchange-traded product in the US market to distribute staking rewards to investors. Also marks the first time on-chain staking yield is being distributed through regulated crypto investment products. This is monumental, okay? You might not think it, might sound boring to you. It really isn't. In the world of finance, this is massively bullish. This, and again, I don't know the ins and outs of how they're going to do it, but they could create an income and an accumulation product. So you could have ETHI A and ETHI D, and one compounds all of your yields and one of them pays out, and they're both used for different tax purposes. But again, this is massively bullish. It's the first Ethereum ETP to pass through staking income. The company states that shareholders, included in the record as of January the 5th, shall be entitled to collect 8.3 cents per share. The distribution date is the 6th, so pretty much quick. The payout was financed by the sale of staking rewards that the fund had earned during the covered period, rather than any reduction or increase in the principal. Although staking has been an essential part, they've only been allowed to do this month. So this is massively, massively bullish news. And I would say the one downside to this is, of course, is it's going to bring sell pressure to Ethereum. That's the only downside, I would say, because they're selling the staking rewards. So if they're holding 1 million and they're receiving, I don't know, 20,000 a week, or whatever it might be, that's going to end up hurting the price of Ethereum. But it's such a small amount, 2% or whatever, it isn't probably going to cause that much damage, and people will be buying more of this than selling because they're going to want to get that yield out of it. So that's the only minor concern, but for me this is absolutely massive news, and this is going to help Solana even more. If you weren't bullish on Solana before you saw this article, then you should be bullish on it now, because Solana is also, in my opinion, primed to benefit massively from this, because the yield that you receive on Solana is 2 times higher than the yield you will receive on Ethereum. So as a newbie that's coming to crypto, I've sold you your Bitcoin because it's finite, store of value, money printer. That's how I'm selling you Bitcoin. I'm selling you Ethereum because it's the second biggest asset in the world. It's going to be used for TradFi coming into the blockchain. You're going to buy that. You're going to make 2% a year. And now I'm selling you Solana because Solana is sexy. It has cats. It has dogs. It has meme coins. It has Trump coin on it. And it's going to pay you 5% a year. And you're going to say deal and shake my hand. And I'm going to walk away with your investment. Can't say fairer than that. Solana smart money turns bullish. Now Sol's price must prove it. Solana shows early recovery signals as sentiment, flows and derivatives align. Again, please bear in mind the time scale I'm talking about these ETFs. This is not a short-term bullish move. This is long-term accumulation by the ETFs of a very small amount of Ethereum and Solana and Bitcoin. This is not meant to pump the price next week. This is meant to take us into 27, 28, 29, 30. This is part of the game. There are ETFs that have been around for 20 years. The gold ETF has been around for, 25, 30 years, something like that, since they've existed. This is now part of mainstream finance. So don't think immediacy, think long term. It's massively bullish for Solana, XRP, Ethereum and Bitcoin. It will be massively bullish for all of the next generation of ETFs that come along, because they'll be packaged together. This is the next big thing. This is not you trading degen coins on Binance. This is not you buying a dog for a cat. This is real world. Big men, big women, big suits, big shoes. Is Solana going to follow suit? We're going to look at the price in a second. Market sentiment gauges show crowd sentiment near neutral positive. The US spot Solana ETFs recorded 10.43 million net inflow in a single day. Cumulative inflows now approach $775 million. The AUM has climbed above $1 billion. Now, please bear in mind, you cannot possibly compare the inflows to Bitcoin with the inflows to Ethereum and into Solana. Look at the market cap of Bitcoin. Then look at the market cap of Ethereum. It's 5 times smaller. 5 times smaller, I don't care. It's around that. Solana is 20 times smaller than Bitcoin. So whatever number you see for Bitcoin, divide it by 20 for Solana. Whatever number you see for Ethereum, divide it by 5 for Solana. These are not, you can't compare the physical dollars coming into these. You have to look at the size of the market cap. If $1 billion worth of Solana is bought and $1 billion of Aave is bought, guess which one of those two prices is going to rip to the upside? Aave, because it's only worth 2.6 billion. They've bought $1 billion worth of Solana, which is the equivalent of about 1.5% of the total market cap. It's been around for 3 minutes. That's what's important to understand. This is a big move, already a big move. Funnily enough, last January, I was saying the same thing about Ethereum. I was saying this is a big move. You're looking at the wrong number. You're looking at it comparing it to Bitcoin. You're not looking at it compared to the market cap of Ethereum. I'm saying the same thing to you today. Look at the percentage of the market cap of Solana that is being bought by the ETFs. Finger in the air, yes, 1.5% has gone into ETFs. It went live in November or October. That's what you need to look at. Conservatively, by the end of this year then, we could look at 5% of Solana sitting in ETFs. That's how you look at it. That's 1/20th of all Solana tokens in ETFs by the end of this year. How can you not be bullish on Solana when that's the case? 1 in 20 Solana that exists right now will be gone by the end of the year. That's how you should be looking at these things. So Solana rebounds as buyers defend demand. Again, we're in this particular zone, but I'm going to show you the price. Everyone's got these charts pointing to the upside. I'm not sold. We're going to have to do an awful lot to get my trust back. Okay, you cheated on me buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin cheated on me and didn't do what I asked it to do. And it cheated. It broke my trust. So, this is the Bitcoin chart, which I don't want to show you. I want to show you the Solana chart. I've drawn a couple of lines on here. I think, there we go. So, a few lines on here. We should, again, have understood that there was some kind of bottom in here, in hindsight. And hindsight is the best way to look at things because you can always sound really clever when you look at hindsight. If you go back to February through to September of 2024, similar with Bitcoin towards the end of 2024 going into 2025, you will see that we bounced off this line here, which was about $120. And then, as if by magic, Debbie McGee jumps out, Paul Daniels waves his hands in the air, and it's a magic trick. We've bounced off the same line. Coincidence? I think not. However, where do we go next? If we look at the same pattern up here, we had a kind of range that went up to about 158. Now, again, Debbie McGee gets back in her little box. Paul Daniels waves his magic wand and then says that 158 level is pretty close to the bottom of our bull market support band. So in the short term, I think 158 is the target we go to before we come down again. And again, same with Bitcoin. We come up here and then we nuke. And where do we nuke? Well, if we go back in the history of time, I would say we would, again, remember what I said yesterday about, that's the wrong line, what I said yesterday about we're not going to come down as far as maybe people expect. No blow off top, no mass capitulation. That's my theory. I think we'd come down to about $100. Now, think about that. If we get to 158, 155, and we come down to about $100 and a bit, that's another 30% move. Similarly, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000-ish and comes down a $70,000 Bitcoin, that's a 30% move. Bitcoin will come down a little bit harder. Sorry, Solana will come down a little bit harder than Bitcoin. I get that. But maybe Solana goes a little bit higher. I don't know. But I think they're my targets. I think 158, 155, 160. That's my range. And what are we from there? 15%? 15% move? It's really not that bad, not that high. Where would I get excited is up here. That's where I'm excited. I'm going to put a smiley face there. That's where I'm excited. Okay? But I'm not excited at 138 or 140 or 145. If we break above this level here, which is 173, if we break that and we come up and we use that as support and we start to see 175, 180, 185, you're going to be in my smiley face. For a start off, we're going to be up here. If we do this, okay, then I'm happy. You know, it actually looks like I'm sweeping the floor. And that might be my next profession after this job. I might be a floor sweeper. I mean, think about it this way. There's always going to be a floor. There's always going to be a sweeping brush, and it's always going to need sweeping. Think about that. So I think those are the price targets for Solana. I hope you managed to, hopefully, make any sense of what I've just described, because I went off talking about sweeping floors, but there you go. A few messages in chat. Tariq is here. Hello, Tariq. I hope you are well. I was talking before you arrived about driving around on the top of your Tesla, and that's now becoming more of a pipe dream than anything. Crypto companies contribute $21 million to the Trump PAC ahead of US midterms. This is the reason we're going to be coming down by the summer, by the way. If you look at the seasonality of the markets don't have a good time before October in the midterm year. The midterm year is very simple. Donald Trump won in November 2024. Donald Trump will not be standing again in November 2028. The halfway point between 24 and 28 is 26. So November and October 2026 is called the midterms. There's like a group of like mini elections going on, and that determines the popularity of the president. Now, what Trump is going to do in the summer is he's going to bribe everybody, because that's what people do. If you come into my club and I give you $200 to spend at the bar and the drinks are $10 a drink, you're going to walk out of that bar and I'm going to say to you, was the bar any good? It's the best bar I've been to in my whole life, okay? He's going to bribe you. He's going to give you a load of money before the summer. You're going to go out and spend that money and have a good summer with your kids, because kids are on holiday, you need money, you're going to go to Disneyland, whatever you're going to go and do, right? That is why he's going to bribe you. You're then going to have a great summer. And then you're going to hit school term, September, they're all back. He's going to do his tax cuts, probably September time. And then in October, he's going to say to you, how well have I done? And you're going to go, oh, well, I had the best summer I've had in years. Great summer. And now I got my paycheck in September. And guess what? I've got loads more money. And October is coming. I'm going to have loads more money again. So I feel great. You're a great president. It's not difficult to win an election. You just give people money. You give them money or you stop taking money off them. That's it. The Democrats don't understand this in America, and the Republicans do. If you give people more money and you stop taxing them, they feel happier. And that is a little bit why communism doesn't really work, because everybody's miserable, because they don't own anything. But that's a different channel and a different story. In a Friday filing with the Fed Election Commission, the MAGA Inc. Super PAC, great name, reported $1.5 million in USDC from Gemini Trust, to $10 million contributions from Forest Dax, the parent company of Beep, which I can't mention. Other contributions, $1 million from an executive at Shift, $4 million from JP Morgan Chase, and it came to $294 million in the stockpile. Now, do you want an interesting fact? In the last election, Donald Trump had less money to spend than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, I don't know what it was. It was $1 billion. I don't know what it was. A ridiculous amount of money she had. And she paid all of these celebrities to get on stage and dance and rap. And that's what she did with the money. And Donald Trump ran around like a blue-bottomed fly, doing rallies as much as he could and going on podcasts as much as he could and all that kind of stuff, because he didn't have the money to do what she did. And $294 million sounds an awful lot, but it isn't really an awful lot. And what is interesting, I don't know who he's going to be running against. I don't know who the Democrats are going to put up against him yet. Probably going to be Gavin Newsom with Michelle Obama or somebody, I don't know. He's not running for re-election in 2026 as his term ends in January, but they can be used to support the candidates in the midterm elections. The US House of Representatives has got 435 seats and 33 seats in the Senate, and that's where the Democrats can gain control. The Republicans own everything. They've got everything. They've got the president, they've got the Senate, they've got the House, they've got everything, because the Democrats were so poor in the last 4 years. So again, why does this matter? It matters because we've seen a massively pro-crypto administration. And it matters because if Trump messes this up, the next guys that come in could very well start to dismantle everything to do with crypto and really lock it down and start imposing fines. And don't think we can't go back there, because we can. I think we can go back there. Why not? There's no reason the Democrats can't come in and just start taxing people. They can just reverse everything that Trump's done. The same way Trump reversed everything that Biden did with his auto pen. Right, we're going to move on to the next article. This is another one. I just want to point this out. I'm not going to be talking too many... I can't read that message on my phone because there is a great big heart over it. I do think the Obamas will make a return. I think they will. She started a podcast. And the thing is, I don't know who she's appealing to because a lot of one side don't like her, a lot of another side don't like her, and she's walking around like a victim. It was so hard. I had to get up at 6 a.m. to get my hair done and my food fed to me and walked by my hand in a chair to this thing that then flew me somewhere, and it was so hard. I mean, how does that appeal to anybody outside of a very select few? Jupiter's Jupe USD formally launches. Again, this is getting to the point of serial packet style launching where everything that launches has less and less impact. Give me 1 second. Okay. So basically, we talked about this with ETFs. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to take you back 3 years. The first time I ever said this was about NFTs. And I said, when are too many NFTs too many NFTs? And that was my first foray into this diminishing returns, diminishing impact. Then we moved on with ETFs. At what point do ETFs not have an impact? We've gone through the majority of the top 10, maybe the top 20, and then we're going to get down to coins that are just not going to have an impact, right? This Jupe USD, everybody's going to have a USD coin. You go to your corner shop, and your corner shop is called Metro. And the guy says to you, would you like to pay in Metro USD? Absolutely. And you pay in Metro USD. And then you go down to the post office. Would you like to pay in Post USD? I'll pay in Post USD. Then you get a taxi, and your taxi driver's called Dave. Would you like to pay in Dave USD? I'm going to pay in Dave USD. Thank you very much, right? We're going to end up with 20,000 of these stupid stable coins. They're all the same thing. The reason they're different is Jupiter will be taking all of the revenue from the US Treasuries. That's all it is. That's why they do them. Same with PayPal. Same with USD1 and World Liberty Financial. They all make oodles and oodles of money out of buying US Treasuries and US debt. And they make the 3 or 4% on it, and then they just send their currency around the world. It's going to become a joke, and they're going to become irrelevant, and the centralized exchanges are going to have to do something about it. Because if I want to send you money, it's like that old thing with Back to the Future, where he goes to buy a Coke, and he says, I'll just have a Coke. And then he said, do you want decaf, or do you want caffeinated, or do you want sugar-free, or sugar, and do you want vanilla or strawberry? And it's just a whole raft of ridiculous things that don't need to happen. This doesn't need to happen, okay? It's bandwagon time. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. I don't care about them. And it's probably going to be the last time I talk about individual ones. But again, what's stopping every single project worth its weight having its own stablecoin? Nothing. And another problem with Jupiter is they just follow this idea. Oh, we'll have another stablecoin. Oh, we're going to go and do this. Oh, we're going to do that. Where's the strategy? Where's the plan behind having your own stablecoin? Because if it is a real stablecoin, it's regulated. If it's regulated, you can't pay a yield on it. Why would I hold Jupe USD when I can hold Circle or Tether, the two biggest stablecoins in the world? You can't incentivize me to hold Jupe USD because that breaks the Genius Act. Explain to me why that was a good idea. Ledger customers hit by third-party data exposure. Ledger customer contact information held by a payment processing partner was exposed in a newly disclosed breach. Ledger's hardware, wallets and software were not compromised, the company said. Now, the more AI we get, the more of this we're going to see. So don't blame Ledger. Blame technology. This is going to happen all over the world. The weakest links are going to be healthcare companies, education establishments, probably prison records, probably anything, local government records. They're all going to be hacked. They're all going to be hacked. All that data is going to be stolen. Your tax records are going to be stolen. It's all there. And the reason it's all there is technology is moving forward so much quicker than the safeguards that are in place. Okay? AI is not necessarily the final destination, because AGI is the final destination. But we've got to the stage now where this is going to keep happening. It will be Ledger today, it will be Google tomorrow, it will be Apple the week after, it will be Microsoft the week after. Now, what's important is understanding that the data can be stolen, fine, but how is that data used? And that, I believe, is where crypto can solve the problem that we've got. Identity theft is a massive problem everywhere. How do you know who I am? You look at me, you can see me. I could be AI. You look at my passport, well, I could have stolen that passport. You look at my other IDs, that could be another ID. There's nothing stopping somebody hacking somewhere, a local government, or hacking the health, or hacking whatever, getting all of that information, and then being that person. You could even create a completely fictitious person, add their records to all of the different, you can give it an education, you can give it a health record, you can do all of these things with AI, and nothing's going to stop them because we're so far behind. So all of these people who are on X going, Ledger is cooked, Ledger's cooked, they're all going to be cooked. Everybody's going to be cooked. It's just going to happen. Now, what's important is that Ledger's hardware, wallets and software were not compromised, the company said. That's the important thing, right? Your personal details, my personal details, have been stolen about 40 times from different websites around the world. I get notified by Microsoft, I get notified. There's a really good website that will tell you, you put your email address in, and it searches all of the different hacked databases. And they're in there. A really good one, which happened, which I'm not going to go into too much detail on because I don't want you to get too scared. But there was a website called Ashley Madison. And I'm not going to bring it up, but Ashley Madison was a dating site. And it was a naughty dating site because it was for married people. And I don't condone this in any way, shape or form. And the reason it was called Ashley Madison is they were the two most popular boys and girls names in the year before they formed the company. Ashley, I believe, was the girl's name, maybe. Madison was the boy's name. I don't know, maybe it's the way around. So they call it Ashley Madison. I don't know how many people are on the database, 150 million, 100 million, whatever it might be. And it got hacked, and the entire thing got dumped onto the dark web. And I didn't go and find that and then look up my friends on it. I didn't do that, okay? And I didn't find too many of my friends, but I did. And I found loads of other people as well. Lawyers, solicitors, accountants, all these other people who are really high-powered people. You type in Gov, you type in anything like that, and it brings them up. So I found loads of people on there. Did any of that really matter at the end of the day? Were there any massive, exposés? Not really. You know, there were government officials on that database. Never really came out. So it doesn't matter about your data being stolen. It's how that data is then used. That's what matters. So you're going to see this all the time. Don't blame Ledger. The most important thing is that your ledger and your keys and your crypto are safe. That's what matters. And at some point in the future, we are going to have a world where you've got a biometric wallet which is tied only to you, in which you're the only person that can access it, and you can allow companies to access your records. And I'm going back now about 6 years, and we were talking to the gaming companies in Gibraltar about doing this. And the way it works is very simple. You can authorize somebody to see different levels of your information. So let's say you're applying for open a bank account, and it will say Bank A wants to see your passport, your utility bill, and your deeds. Do you agree? Yes. And then that bank can see those records exist and verify that it's you. If it's a gaming company, they don't need to see all of that information. They might want to see your passport. So you share that individual piece of information with them. And that allows for you to keep all of your data and you keep it all up to date and you keep it in one place without actually handing over any information. So that's maybe the future. I know Vitalik and Ethereum are working on it. I know Solana are working on it. I know there's independent companies working on it. But until it actually really takes off with a MetaMask doing it, or a Trust Wallet doing it, or a Phantom doing it, and have an industry consensus, it's not going to work, because it has to be big enough to be accepted by governments. So it has to be something like that. And I don't mean WorldCoin with your eye scan, Terminator style, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back type scan. I mean a global database, blockchain, that is controlled by you, that all of the governments agree to. We are years away from that, but we might be able to do something which other companies will use in the meantime. So that's something to bear in mind. That is something to bear in mind. Now, we're going to move on a little bit. NFT Paris and Real World Asset Paris 2026 cancelled after market slowdown. I read this tweet about the fact that they tried and they've cut costs and they've done everything and they've refunded everybody. And again, the market collapse hit us hard. Despite drastic cost cuts and months of trying to make it work, we couldn't pull it off this year. Now, let me just point something out to you. Okay? In 2022 and 2023, Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum were worth nowhere near what they're worth today. Bitcoin was at 18,000. It's now at 90,000. Ethereum, even though we've had the up and the down, we're still at $3,200. I think we're at $3,200, $3,600 at the peak. So we've not really come down that far. Solana did peak at $250 and is now down at $150. But again, let's go back to look at what was in 2022 and 2023. It was at $25. So I call BS. I call BS. I think blaming the market it is rubbish. I think they basically have got a group of people with blue and red hair and nose rings who sit around wearing those multicolored trousers saying, wouldn't it be cool if we got loads of people to dress up as elephants and walk around the streets of Paris, and we're going to pay them $5,000 a day each, and then we're all going to eat tofu sandwiches and we're all of this. And I just think it's simply down to poor management. If you put an event on and you charge for tickets and your tickets don't cover the cost of the event, then you should never be allowed to go anywhere near running a business. If it's going to cost me $50,000 to put an event on and there's only 50 people who are allowed to come to that event, I will charge you $1,100 a ticket. If there are costs of $100,000 and you can get 10,000 people into that event, you charge them $15 a ticket, $20 a ticket, right? So I call BS. I call absolute BS. Tickets will be refunded. The cancellation of one of the top NFT events brings more focus on the issue of failed collections and low activity. I call BS. I don't think they sold enough tickets. I think that's what it is. They didn't sell enough tickets and the demand isn't there. So don't blame the market. Blame your poor management. That's what I would say. And again, there are many events that go on that they have very poor turnouts at, which make a profit because they charge more. So if you're a crypto event and you can get 25,000 people in your event and you charge $30 a ticket, that's a lot of $750,000 you've got to burn through to not make a profit, in my opinion. And there are events that are put on just to make profits. You see them all the time. The Affiliate Convention Summit, Prague, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be 50,000 people. Yeah, there's 50,000 people there, and they're all paying $100 a ticket. And then you've got nobody you've heard of, and nobody you've heard of on the main stage, and nobody you've heard of on the main stage. It's like Glastonbury, and every act performing is unsigned, and you've no idea who any of them are. You don't know if they're any good, you don't know if they're any bad. Very bad, okay? That's what a lot of these summits are about. If you can't make money out of a conference or out of an event, step aside and let somebody sensible do it. Anyway, 30 seconds to go. Come on, that was pretty good. Good morning, Bain. Now, Bain has appeared because he can smell the quiz. The quiz is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central European Time, 6 p.m. UTC. It will be on Binance Square. If you're on Binance Square, you'll be able to put your user ID in. I will collate all of the user IDs, and this is something you also need to understand. I'm going to collect everybody's user ID tomorrow night, and then on Friday, maybe Saturday, don't shoot the messenger, I'm going to do the video that ties in with that, and I'm going to publish that on Binance, and I'm going to send the winners syrup token. Okay? So I'm going to buy some syrup tokens, and I'm send them to you on Binance. You don't have to do anything but show up, put your user ID in once, don't do it every 3 seconds, and then you'll be entered into the prize draw. If you're on the other channel, it's an interactive quiz. You can play along, press 1, 2, or 3. That's all you got to do. It's easy. We couldn't make it any easier if we tried. It's so easy that even Samurai... I'm going to tell you now who's going to win. Samurai Smart's going to win. I can even tell you who's going to win the quiz. There will be people up there. Mary might make an appearance in the top 3. Danny might make an appearance in the top 3. I think Tariq has been in the top 3 in the past. Try to think who else has won. Trying to think now. Oh, of course, Hidden Agendas. He's made an appearance in the top 3 quite a lot. So turn up. It's fun. We get to learn about Maple Finance. That's the most important thing because it's an education show. You get to learn about Maple Finance, and the theme of Maple Finance tomorrow night is a review of 2025. So the first quiz of the year is going to be about everything they did in 2025. So we're going to start with January, come through to December. We're going to be talking about the Aave partnerships, the Cantor Fitzgerald partnerships. We're going to be talking about Bitwise, is it? We're going to be talking about Syrup USDC, Syrup USDC. We're going to be talking about USDT, sorry. We're going to be talking about Plasma. We're going to be talking about all of those things tomorrow night on the quiz. Tariq came top 3 last time. See, he's on fire now. That's the thing with Tariq. He's on fire. KB has not made an appearance. No. Whoa. You haven't shown up. You can't say I've not been in the top 3. You haven't been there. Danny bro, KB bro, you rock. Kishan has been. I think his internet connection really matters. But Kishan has started to creep up that leaderboard. I don't know if you've noticed. The very first few quizzes we did, Kishan was like always in the bottom 5. And the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 quizzes, Kishan has been top 6. So he's sorted out his internet connection and he's starting to make a move. But you're all going to have to go some to beat Mary. Because I don't know what she's done. She's got some super fast, crazy internet connection over there. We shall see. And Manjeet's got better as well. Let's not forget Manjeet. Anyway, I've noticed something else. I turned my fan off. As I pointed out to you yesterday, I noticed that I rub my nose a lot during the stream. I've turned my fan off today, and I don't think I've touched my nose as much. So I think the dust is simply tickling my nostrils. Maybe. Anyway, no stream tomorrow day. Tomorrow night, the Oracle himself and me, we will be back with the first quiz of the year. And then on the 21st, we will have our Wolfies quiz. And we may try and squeeze another quiz in. But what we need to do, and this is a long story short, we have a partner that we're not allowed to stream on Binance. So we can't do the quiz on Binance for this partner. And we haven't done one of those quizzes for a while. But maybe we do one of them as well. Anyway, enough chitter-chatter. It's 12:04. You're all amazing. You've all survived the bear market. We're now going to $250,000. And I'm going to make a public apology to Rich Dad Poor Dad because he's clearly been right all this time. I've clearly been wrong. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Thank you for coming. As always, greatly appreciated. And I'll see you tomorrow night with the Oracle.